What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ripple Effect with Soria. I am your host, Armando, and with me today, I am very excited to be sitting across the table from the one and only David Kasavan. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm excited to have you here. I've been following you guys for a while, and really, you guys have quite the legacy, the Kasavans and Salinas, man. So it's an honor to have you on and talk to you for a little bit.
Heck yeah, man. I'm stoked.
Awesome, man. So for the folks that don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just go for it, man.
Yeah, for sure. So, Dave Kasavan, fourth generation Kasavan here in Salinas Valley. I'm a general building contractor, following the footsteps of my dad and my grandpa. They were architects. We have about 14 guys that work for us right now. We specialize in residential construction. I got a almost 2-year-old son. So I'm a father. Nice. I have another one coming.
Congrats.
So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. I always see him. I always see him inspecting the job sites.
Yeah, no kidding. I call him my project manager.
There you go.
He's finally able to kind of walk around and he follows me around. He's picking stuff up and it's just kind of fun to see him soaking it up. And at first he's just like a little minion. I'm just holding him and he's not doing anything. Doesn't know what he's doing. Like I had him in a little carrier too. I used to go to meetings. I'd have him in a little carrier. Nice. And he's just like sitting there sucking his thumb or whatever. So now he's running around and soaking it up and picking up tools and stuff. So it's super exciting to watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much just the helicopter view of kind of what we do.
Awesome, man. So let me ask, just dive into some of that stuff, man. So how did you get into your trade?
It's kind of interesting. So I never thought I was going to get into construction. Actually, I saw my dad just stressed out all the time. And I went to his jobs and it was cool. Like I respected what he did, but he seemed stressed out a lot. And I just didn't want to do that. I thought I was actually going to go to school for audio engineering. I'm a pianist. So I played piano my whole life. So I got a keyboard in high school and I was like, I would make music and come up with my own stuff. And I said, I want to go to school and learn how to be a legit audio engineer and work for like Pixar or Disney or, something like that and make music for movies.
Nice.
And then long story short, I got kicked out of this boarding school that I was at for being just a little troublemaker. Came back to Salinas High, graduated with all my friends, and it was a blessing in disguise. I was super disappointed that I actually, that I put my dad through the disappointment of that experience, but I came back. I mean, I had no money, no car, no diploma, 18 years old. By all rights, I could have been living on a couch in my buddy's house or something.
Yeah.
And so just kind of picked myself back up, graduated. And I remember I worked a job at the feed trough feed store. It's like a basically livestock feed store. And so I'm stacking hay bales and horse feed and stuff. And I kind of learned how to work. And I had tradesmen coming in saying, hey, you work your ass off.
Yeah.
Come work for me.
Yeah.
And I was just comfortable. I just wanted my beer money for the weekend. Like, I'm like, no, I'm good. And then some stuff happened. I ended up quitting that job and I had some side jobs working for just doing like fence repair and just a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was at my tattoo artist's shop getting a tattoo. And I said, man, I just want to get a job where I can work construction like legit and go home and relax and like really earn it and kind of I don't want to go build high schools like what my dad does. I want to just do smaller construction stuff. And he's like, well, I got a buddy that he'll hire you right now.
Nice. Yeah.
So he called the guy, he was my first boss, Kelly Howell, called him up. Kelly said, yeah, send him to the job. Here's the address. And so I went to that address and he was partners with a guy by the name of Javier Higuera Construction. They were kind of teaming up. Like they're both GCs, but they were teaming up. And I showed up. First thing Kelly said was, nice truck. I had a second gen. I still have the truck, second gen Dodge diesel with a flatbed on it.
Nice.
And so he said, nice truck. And I just instantly was like, this is cool. This is where I belong.
Yeah.
And I kind of just fell in love with it. I saw both of them showing up in their nice trucks with lumber racks and lumber was on it. And they're on their phones, just like seemed important. I'm like, I'm going to be that one day.
Nice.
And so I didn't ever think that I would end up in this industry. I used to be against the idea. And then just like the sequence of events that just kind of happened. Luckily, thank God, I ended up getting into it.
Yeah. So I hear you, man. I could relate to that quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
I feel like we all kind of have a story that wasn't so
yeah.
pretty in the beginning that got us into the trades at some point or another, you know, and then it ended up being a blessing, you know?
No, absolutely. So you're working for this company, you're swinging the hammer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And falling in love with the actual work.
Yeah. Actually the first task I did was digging trenches for irrigation in the front yard.
You know what? Most great people start with digging trenches.
Yeah,
man.
right.
It's
And so
funny.
that was the first, and it was humbling. And I remember working with Kelly's brother. His name was Chris Griswold.
Mm.
And I'm working with him, and Kelly and Chris, obviously they're brothers. So Kelly's really hard on Chris or whatever. And Chris was like, man, if you just work your ass off, like you will be really good. You got it. You got your name, like your dad's big time. Like if you just work hard, you know, you'll be good.
Yeah.
And it really like stuck with me, that conversation with him to this day. Like I remember like it's yesterday. We're both shirts off in the front yard digging these trenches. And it just was like a switch went off, and it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to have my own company one day. I don't know when. I'm just going to work my ass off, try to learn as much as I can.
Yeah.
And it went from digging trenches for irrigations to painting the walls to hanging drywall, tile. I started setting tile, did some framing, did window install, little bit of roofing, like a little bit of everything. I really did. And, you know, I jumped from company to company too, but it started with just like the basic labor, loading trailers, sweeping the job, $14 an hour. You know, what at the time that was a lot of money for me, but
I think
I was young. I was 20 years old.
Yeah, I think when I started in my trade, I was $13.50.
Yeah,
and I thought, oh man, I thought I had it made.
Me too. That's a lot of beer money for the weekend.
You know?
Yeah, right. So
yeah.
No, it was good though. It was. I feel like everyone needs to start from the bottom, no matter what industry. Like you have to know how to do the basic, like dumbed down version of the task, right? Like digging, loading a trailer. There's actually a technique to loading a trailer.
That's it.
You know, it's like Tetris. You got to think about it. You just load it all up. You got a bunch of unused space. So I learned all that. Yeah. And Kelly and Hav, man, they were the beginning of my career and my whole journey in this.
That's awesome, man. That's cool, man. Talk about humble beginnings. And that's really admirable, just considering the fact that your father was an architect or is an architect and a big player here in town, right? And quite the your grandfather. I mean, you guys have quite the legacy, and you know, it's really cool and humbling and admirable that nothing was handed to you. Yeah. You worked your ass off.
Yeah, that's one really thing. Cool. My dad, he's tough. You know, he wasn't like by any means, like he was a great father figure. He's my hero to this day, but he wasn't like easy. You know, he didn't just give me a truck and give me this and give me that. He paid for like the boarding schools and stuff that I went to try to help me and be successful. Yeah. I'm sure he would have paid for college. Yeah, he's doing. But when I started my company, I started it with my money. Like he didn't give me even any jobs. You know, people think that he was just like, oh, Dave's going to start his company and he's going to work with his dad or work on his dad's jobs. No, I don't want to do schools. Yeah. You know, he didn't, that's all he has to give is just like potential leads on big jobs like that. He didn't give me any money. Like he helped me. He was just like, look, I'll be a resource for you and help you and guide you. But I started my company and got my license, paid for all the fees, and I had $500 in my bank account. Like,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, I mean, you know, it's not awesome, but it's awesome. Right. You know, considering, you know, how you progress, but
and he didn't even give me the job. Like I got my own job with my own network. You know what I mean? I just was like, they're like, oh yeah, Kasavan, like Peter, you know, he's a big name, Kasavan Architects. Here's his son. Like, you know, this kid probably will do good if his dad's an architect, but it was my tattoo artist they got with his friend. Right. It was my connections. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And so now tell me a little bit about that. So fast forward a little bit, you've been working in the trades. Yeah. You felt that fire in you, I guess, to go out and get your own license. Oh yeah. And you know, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I worked for in 5 years, I worked for 7 different contractors. Never got fired. Nice. I always just like was hungry for the next opportunity that was going to improve my skills and my basically like my worth to companies, right? I wanted to do big houses. That was the goal for me, is big luxury homes. And so I kind of bounced around a little bit. My last job I worked for was a contractor here in Pebble Beach. And I was on, I manifested that goal, right? I was on a 9,000 square foot, like practically tear down, complete rebuild. I was there for like a year. The guest house was 2-story, like 2,000 square foot guest house. Yeah. And like I'm right on 17 Mile Drive with a gorgeous view, like right next to Cypress golf course or whatever. So, you know, I started doing that. And then, I knew from that point, I said, okay, I'm going to do this eventually. I want to do this size job on my own. Yeah. And, I remember studying when I was studying for my license, and my guy, Joe McCutcheon, who works for me, he'll vouch for me on this, where I made a bunch of little index cards, little 3x5s. Yeah. I was terrible in school, like C's and D's, right? Barely got my diploma. Okay. So that was the one thing I remember, that strategy for studying and memorizing,
the index cards, the flashcards. Yeah.
So I got the practice test, and I was still working for this contractor, and I wrote out, I still have them to this day, I probably like 2,500 index cards, all the practice test questions.
Yeah.
So I write the question and the answer on the back. And on my 10 o'clock break, my lunch break, and 2 o'clock breaks, I would just be like a madman. Like I started with 15 of them, and I would just run through them, have my coworkers, hey, run these by me.
Yeah.
You know, test me on these questions. I would do 15 of them at a time. And when I get to 100, say, hey, here's the whole stack. And like, they got so annoyed with me when I was doing it. I'd even be like in the porta potty. I'd have them in my back pocket in the porta potty, pull them out real quick and like just start using them while I'm just trying to do my thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just like tunnel vision. You know, I just knew that I wanted to do this. I wanted to pass on the first time. And I had a lot of people that were like, didn't think that I'd be able to do it. And so that kind of motivated me as well.
Yeah,
but
put a little fire in you for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I knew that I was going to pass. I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I knew I wanted to be a general. And I just honestly sacrificed a lot and changed my lifestyle and did these flashcards and everything to make it happen. I mean, I went sober for like 6 months, no beer, no nothing. I was out, used to go bar hopping with the boys, you know, work a hard 8-hour day on a Friday, go out and get some beers with the buddies. None of that. You know, I just totally dedicated myself to just making sure that I passed this test.
Nice.
And I remember when I took the test, I was the youngest one in the room, the only one in the room to get the Class B general.
Nice.
And I was the first one done. So I thought I did something wrong, you know? Why am I the only one that's like looking around like I'm ready to hit pass or hit enter to see if I pass or fail? So I hit enter, screen lit up, boom, happiest moment of my life. Drove back from San Jose. I did the test in San Jose. I guess you got to do them in Sacramento now or something like that.
They've changed things a little bit, but
after COVID and all that stuff. But so driving back from San Jose, called my dad, first person, just was so excited. He was so excited, and just like all the crap I put him through in my childhood, you know, is finally making him proud. You know, it's just a awesome thing.
That's so cool, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps here just because you know, there's a lot of similarities in my story with that too. And I remember the reason I got, you know, these goosebumps, I got emotional is because that was the first thing I did too, is I called my dad.
Yeah.
You know? And it's cool. They told me right then and there, and I was the first one to get up, the first one to leave.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh no, there's no way I pass this thing.
Right.
And
you think you missed something or did something wrong.
Of course. Why am I the first one up? You know? And so I remember getting out. It was surreal, right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
And called the old man, and same thing. I'm sure it was
that's got to be their most proud moment right there.
That
like,
is.
It's like, I didn't go to college. I don't know if you went to college or not.
I dropped out.
Yeah. See, so it's kind of like, it's like a graduation ceremony, but it's a certification. It's not a degree, but it's something that's a career.
Oh, it's
so
it's
make
huge.
You know they're proud.
It's huge. Yeah, absolutely, man. And holy cow, that's awesome, man. And quite the journey.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. And it's been such a journey even to this day. Like we've been at it. I've had my license 5.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like it went by like that. Like,
so you get your license, you go get your company started right away?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right away. So, I mean, there's a waiting period from the state, right? So I remember I was nagging them, just blowing them up. Where's my license? You're costing me money. I have jobs I could start.
Right.
Well, basically I started as just kind of I just was a contractor working under friends of mine, right? That had their licenses. I'm just getting 1099 subbed out. I was doing just framing for my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of started that. And then I started working with a couple of pest control companies that would just send me their Section 1 reports for real estate agents that were trying to sell houses.
Right.
So you have to do the dry rot repairs, the termite repairs. So I'm like crawling under houses, like just doing it all myself. No bodies yet. I go under there like this. Just didn't even care. You know, 26 years old, just hungry as hell.
Man, that's awesome.
And so I did that. Just did the most random little odd jobs for, you know, realtors, some pest control companies. And then it turned into like I started doing I got a deck job. I was doing like a front door replacement. And then it just kind of started to slowly downhill snowball effect into bigger and bigger stuff. And I remember I crewed up. I had probably by the end of 2018, because I got my actual license, like the document, January 28th, 2018.
Okay.
So by September, I had 8 guys.
Oh, wow.
We did over 350 grand in revenue.
Nice.
And September, I got a call from my mom's boyfriend at the time where she got in a car accident and ended up in the ICU. So I just, you know, it was like, whatever, I'm going to go take care of her. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys keep rolling. It'll be all right. And I go up there and long story short, 8 weeks later, she passed away. So that to me, like everything completely shut down. Like stopped answering my phone. All my guys, I'm like, I have to deal with this, guys.
Yeah.
Like, go find other jobs. You're not fired. I don't have anything. I'm not doing anything right now. And it was really hard. Like, I was a mama's boy for sure. She lived up in Reno. And that was by far my lowest point emotionally I've ever been in my life. And
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was tough. I was only child. I had no one to help me go through her stuff and help deal with the estate and deal with the estate sale, and just, you wouldn't believe, like, just the burial fees and everything. Like, I'm paying for everything,
right,
waiting to get paid back from. There's a bunch. It's almost like just ridiculous. It was a total mess.
Yeah.
So I remember I went through on a downhill spiral. I was getting out of control. Just stayed in Reno. It was toxic. I was doing all kinds of dumb stuff. And I said, you know what? I pulled my head out of my ass. Said, this is not what my mom would want me to do.
Yeah.
This is not how she would want me to grieve for her. So I just sacked up, drove back home, got right back to work, started over. Like, I was working for a buddy of mine.
The hard reset button. Huh?
Right. I was working with a buddy of mine, Eddie, and he was kind of just keeping like one or two of my guys busy while I was just dealing with this. Everyone else got laid off. So I go back. I'm working with him. I'm working with another contractor, and just trying to get back on my feet. And then,
and I'm sorry, this is year 2 now?
This was coming into year 2.
Yeah.
So first year,
right,
January through September, crushed it. September through December, complete mess emotionally. Was totally like I was in a lot of debt. I maxed out all my credit cards, spent all my money. I was broke. It was bad.
Yeah.
So January to February ish, I started working with other GCs again. I had a couple of my buddies that were working with me. Chris and Will were the ones that were working with me at the time. And I just started over completely. Yeah. Was working with, my buddy Eddie as a sub, working with my other buddy Mike as a sub. And then I kind of started getting my leads back. Yeah. And I got this lead, and I jumped in doing my own thing. And then it just restarted the process, right? I just kept going. I marketed, put an ad out and in the loop, started marketing my brand more. And just by the end of 2019, I had like 11 guys.
Rose back up.
Yeah. So it was just it was like a rocket ship that came completely tanking down. And then we were just kind of slowly getting back in it. And then ever since 2019, it's just every year there's been growth, There's been a lot of lessons,
Right, of course.
But that was a really life-changing event.
Like, I would, that's a big one.
Yeah, no, it was, but that's what I tell people. It's like, life happens, man. You gotta, it really put my life into perspective. Like, I went on I call it a travel bender. After that, my mom loved to travel. And so I was like, I need to do this, because something like this, you never know when you're going to go. Yeah. So I booked a trip. I went to British Virgin Islands with my buddy Chris. I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Vegas. I went to Miami. I went to all these different places, you know, and while I was working too, kept it rolling, but still, like, it helps me. It helps me kind of put things into perspective. Life's not that serious, man. Like, try to enjoy it. You never know when you're going to go. My mom was always in a good mood. She was always just so chipper and happy, and like, just nothing really fazed her or upset her, and so it kind of helped me, honestly. Like, it sucks, and I miss her dearly, and I just learned from it. There's nothing I can do. Obviously I want her back, but there's nothing you can do. You just learn and grow and kind of move on, and just, it gets a little easier, every year.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, no, that's an incredible story, man. And of course, my condolences. I know it's been some time, but it doesn't change.
No. You just kind of get used to the fact that Mother's Day, it stung for a while. And now I have my son, and I'm just like, you know what? Grandma's watching over you. Yeah. My mom's watching over us, both of us right now. We're hanging out. She's with us. And he's obviously not even 2, so he doesn't understand, but still.
But he will.
Yeah, and that's what she would want. Yeah. She would want us to kind of celebrate, we're all together. Here we are. We're here. She's here with us in spirit and your heart and all that. Yeah. So
you downward spiral.
Yeah.
You're coming out of it. It was for her memory. Was that the drive to kind of straighten back out? What was the shift there?
I think that was what it was. I was like, this is not what my mom would want me to do, to grieve for her loss. I need to, like, snap out of this, get back to the grind. If anything, use it as motivation to, like, do better and just kind of enjoy the moment a little bit more. And it was that really fueled the fire to get me back at it and grind it out. And
So speaking of that, it seemed like, obviously that's such a life-changing experience and such a huge life event to go through. Yeah. So I came across your content, I came across your content on social media, and of course, I've heard of the name.
Yeah.
You know, who hasn't, right?
Yeah.
Here in town, I've heard of the Kasavans, and I think I was driving down 68 when I was newer in business. I'm only in my third year now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm driving down 68 probably during year one, and I see that Ram. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I see that Ram
Yep.
with Kasavan slapped across the side, and I'm like, oh man, oh, that's big time right there. That's you know. And of course, I jumped on and I followed you on social media, and man, it really your marketing, your content, it really stood out to me. First of all, because it looks clean and beautiful and
Yep.
all that.
Shout out to Brian Meek.
Yeah, and man, shout out to Brian. And I tell you, man, when I started watching some of that content, some of those reels,
Yeah.
it was cool because you put your you did something that's a little bit against the grain from the trades, right? You started putting yourself out there and allowing the consumers or whoever to get to know you. And your mindset, and also show off some of the badass work you guys are doing, right?
Of course.
But me as a business owner, kind of going through the personal development journey, kind of going through figuring out my intentions and my whys and that kind of thing, I stopped in my tracks when you started talking about your things, I guess, your mindset, and really when you started talking about your intentions behind the success and what it means to your team and your crew and the mentorship and so forth and so on.
Right.
So let's dive into the personal development side and the mindset shift. Did that happen? When did that happen? Was that part of January 2019? When you're kind of coming back and just kind of like rising from the ashes, so to speak.
Right. I think it happened when I had my son. Like, obviously I was proud of my company, January 2019. And I wanted to come back and rose out of the ashes, and I took care of my guys. I really have always been try to like prioritize my crew and make sure they feel special and taken care of. But I remember when my son was born and I'm like holding him, and I took him when he was, because me and his mom were not together. We co-parent very well, but we're not together. So when I had him, I took him when he was 7 weeks old. And I'm just by myself in my house changing a diaper. Never changed a diaper before in my life. So I'm like watching YouTube and like he's got a poopy diaper. And I'm like, how do I do this? Watching like some YouTube mom do it. So I learned the techniques and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm like holding this my son, and I'm like, this dude needs me. Yeah. This guy needs me to provide for him and provide the best life possible for him. Right. And then it kind of put things into perspective too. Like my crew, almost all of them have kids. Yeah. They look at their children the same way. So I'm like, I feel extra responsible now because not only my son, but they have kids. So I was like, they really rely, like, it doesn't matter what employee it is, they could work for whoever, but they need their boss to provide for them to be able to provide for their family. So I was like, I took it like, I'm proud to be able to hand them their paychecks so that they can then go buy toys and vacations and food and provide for them. And it was just like a light switch went off, and I'm like, this is fun to me. Yeah. Like payday for me, I love handing my guys their checks. Here you go. You earned this. Like, go take care of your family. We have plenty of work. I pay all my guys a lot of money. You got to pay them well to keep them. So I'm like, you earned it. It just felt so good.
Fulfilling.
Yeah, it felt good. And so the moment I saw my son, all that was kind of going through my head. And so that was, a year and a half ago or whatever. And then within the last year, I grew really close with a friend of mine named Blake Stoker. And I met him working with another company, and he was a project manager. We just became buddies. And so he had this saying that kind of was cool with me. He said, we're feeding the families. And my buddy Tony Castillo, American Tile Company, he said, feeding las familias, right? Yeah. So I was like, we are. Like, how many families are we feeding with this job? Right. And it's like, I got a couple jobs where there's probably over 100 people, from design crew to people at the building department to, plumbers, electricians, framers, concrete guys, demo crews. I mean, you got so many people affected by that job. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't think about that. At least I didn't think about it until I had my son, and I'm holding it. I'm like, this dude relies on me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Almost all my crew has kids. They all look at their children the same way. Right. And it just feels good knowing that I'm able to find leads, good clients, good jobs, and provide for my guys. It just feels so good. It's almost like a new kind of a high for me. Yes. Right? Like yes. Getting the job, getting contract signed, getting the deposit, getting the guys on the job. Boom. It's like, we're good. You guys have money coming in to pay for your families.
That's awesome, man. That it's funny how that small shift, right, has no pun intended, but the ripple effect from shifting that mindset, right?
Absolutely.
So one thing that you said that caught my attention during that video when you were talking on, speaking on this subject, was what happened once that mind shift happened. Right? What came after?
Right. It was pretty wild. So since that mind shift changed, and I've been listening to a lot of Ed Milet, Andy Frisella.
Right.
Ed Milet's really focused on gratitude, being grateful, and I've gone down that rabbit hole for years. Right, I've been down that rabbit hole. I'm still down there.
Absolutely,
love hanging out down there.
It's awesome down there.
Yeah. So I talk to God every day in the shower. Even when I have my son, okay, John, we're gonna talk to God now. We're gonna thank him for this, thank him for that. Just being a complete attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then showing appreciation to my employees, showing appreciation to my clients, appreciation to my subs, it's weird how it works, but you manifest so much faster when you're in an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
The law of attraction works fastest when you're thinking about how grateful you are for everything that you have.
That's it.
Right? If you're just constantly oh, this sucks, I don't have this yet, or this, it's that's not going to work fast at all.
Right.
I mean, just being grateful for your health and you woke up and you're standing, you're vertical is what I say. Tell people you're vertical today. It's a blessing. Right. So just that kind of helps this whole thing move faster.
Right.
And obviously you got the law of right action that follows the law of attraction. You got to do something.
You got to put in the work.
You got to go vertical. You can think about it all you want, but you got to get up. You got to go make it happen.
That is key and critical. And that's what some people, I think that's where, at least for me, my thing with the law of attraction and manifestation.
Yeah.
It used to rub me the wrong way because I used to feel I hear people say it. I see content out there that's oh, just manifest it.
Yeah.
It's well, they were leaving out the biggest part, and that's doing the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you have to do the law of right action for it to work. You have to do something. You got to make it happen. You got to create your own luck. I have it tattooed on me, right? You create your own luck. What's the saying? There's a guy, I forget who says it, but it's it's out of your control what you're born with, but it's in your control what you die with. Right? You're the one that creates your own path.
Nice.
So, and it took me, I was introduced to the law of attraction, The Secret, the movie, The Secret.
Yeah.
You heard of it?
Yeah.
My mom showed me that.
Oh, wow.
When I was 16.
Wow.
Way too young to appreciate it or even understand it.
Yeah. That's pretty deep, man.
Oh yeah. No. And that's so that's how long I've known about the law of attraction. And I started putting it into action, within the last probably 10 years of my life and just tested it out. And it's worked for me.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries.
So you've been you saw The Secret, right?
Yeah.
And you said for the past 10 years you've been putting into action. You knew of it. You were woke. You were woke, right?
Yeah, right. In that aspect,
in that aspect.
Yeah.
But as it pertains to gratitude,
right?
The involvement of gratitude as part of the power of the law of attraction,
right?
Was the gratitude portion of it new in 2019? Or was that part of it always? And
I think that within the last probably year, I've really
zeroed in on gratitude.
I've always in the back of my mind, because even starting my company was a law of attraction manifestation that I made happen, right? So I've been practicing it, but as far as really, really focusing on gratitude, it's been within the last year because
awesome.
I had I was staring bankruptcy in the face every night. It was haunting me in my dreams. I was really going through it. I grew way too fast. I was terrible at managing my money. And I was scared. And I remember just I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Fallon, and she said, you need to just talk to God about it. And at the time I'm I'm not gonna do that. Whatever. I'm just going to focus on the law of attraction. The universe is my God. Right.
Yeah.
But then God's just kind of a word for a higher power in my book now. I remember being parked in my truck in the back of Corral de Tierra where there's no cell phone service, parked my truck, just screaming all right, God, I'm dang near bankrupt. I got payroll coming up in a couple days. This is my test to you. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that, but help me out. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to feed families. What am I doing wrong? Show me the way to get out of this. Introduce me to the people that are going to help me get out of this or whatever. Just screaming at them. And I remember I pulled up San Venancio and I started coming back into cell phone service and I got an email report that I got a bank transfer from a client that owed me money for 90 days. It was $40,000 or something ridiculous. I was whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
And so since then, and I remember calling Fallon it worked. My God. So then since then, that was about a year ago.
Yeah.
And since then, it's I just will be driving in the truck randomly God, I'm so thankful that I'm in my truck right now.
Yeah.
Driving to an awesome project for an awesome client. I'm so thankful for just this right now. I don't need anything more than this. Obviously I want it, but I'm so happy and grateful for that. So within the last year, since then, I was at rock bottom, dang near bankrupt. I had so much work, but I had no money. Like the cash flow was screwed up. And, so since then, like that happened. It was a struggle. It wasn't like just boom, all of a sudden money's coming in. That floated me till the next payroll, right?
Right.
It took a year of completely restructuring my business, completely like reorchestrating my bookkeeping, my accountant, and all that sort of stuff.
Doing the work.
Yeah, doing the work, how I structure payments and all that. What I charge, I was not charging nearly enough, and so all of those factors, and a year later, like we're finally like it's so good right now. Like I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm not worried about payroll. Like I got enough payroll money in the bank for payroll for a couple months. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah, right. But it took me, that moment was like, whoa, being grateful and talking to God and whatever, like really helps.
Wow.
And it changed my life. I still, to this day, I talked to him this morning.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. My daily journal or whatever.
That's awesome, man. I'm laughing because, there's a lot to be said there, man. There's a lot to unpack there. And it's just incredible because, that's that rabbit hole.
Yeah. I'm so far down in there. I mean, I got the law of attraction, the law of right action, the Wim Hof breathing, the cold showers, like the attitude of gratitude, all of that is down. Like it's all related, right? And it all helps.
It's all related and it's all connected, man.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about you, but it's so funny that you're saying the same. I could share all that with you.
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
I've seen you posting your Wim Hof.
Yeah. Well,
your cold showers. You're finally doing your cold showers.
Yeah. I'm in there for about a minute now. So that's
that's good.
That's a big deal. And the Wim Hof, man, with the breathing, I think I got to like a minute, 34 seconds this morning.
That's
I'm
good.
I'm getting there. I know someone that holds it for about 5 minutes or so. I'm like, are you still?
Cedric does 5 minutes. No kidding. The longest I got was 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Wow. Nice.
That was my record.
But it's funny. It was for me, we started experiencing our version of rapid growth the minute that I started gratitude journaling.
Yep. It's powerful stuff.
And it was amazing. And one of my mentors, Christopher Warrens, he has a book out called Dominate Your Day. And he exposed me to that, and I'm reading it, and different people in the personal development space, they're all generally saying almost the same thing, but it's just a different perspective, and it's the one that resonates with you that helps you, and also timing, like when are you ready to actually hear it, right? And like you said, you were exposed to the law of attraction and The Secret 10 years ago, and cool, but you took the action a year and a half ago, or that's when it was right for you. It was your time, or that's when you're ready to, whatever it is. Right. But it's it's a trip that I
feel like it sounds so like cliche. Yeah. I was that guy where I'm like, whatever, dude, you and your like fairy tale relationship with this higher power, and you're doing your daily journals. Like, I like my showers hot.
Yes.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
And then until I felt like I was in a position in my life where I was just like, I got nothing to lose. Like, I might as well just try it and see what happens. I was skeptical, but I tried it, and I was like, I meant it. It wasn't just like I was saying it meaninglessly. I meant it. And I mean, I've been doing the cold showers for a while. I've been doing those for a year and a half. The breath work, I was doing it since that Miami convention I was telling you about earlier. That's where I learned about it all. And there's so many health benefits too. That's a whole nother rabbit hole too. The health benefits, it's so good for you, but it's the routine. That routine is just being so positive, and just it makes the law of attraction work so much faster. Yeah, in my experience, right? There's going to be a lot of skeptics out there. A lot of people are like, whatever. Well, you just got lucky.
Don't knock it till you try.
Yeah, exactly. Try it out, people. Like, I would fully encourage it. It worked for me,
man. But it's so funny. I mean, there's so much to it, right? You had that moment. Your son was born. Yeah. You had that moment when you thought about the mouths to feed sort of thing. Yeah. But then you also tie in gratitude and just being grateful. And I mean, it's so easy, and we lose sight of that. That's a perspective thing. We have so much to be grateful for. Yeah. Even if you don't have a lot. I mean, just the fact that you're standing vertical, right?
You're right.
Like, or that you're vertical. That's it, right?
Right.
So, but you had the shift in mindset with in terms of thinking about your team, putting them first. And it seems like everything just comes together.
Right.
Everything just kind of works. It's like a bunch of different pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
All the magnet pieces come
That's
together.
it. And what's crazy is that I feel like there's still more growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
always room to grow.
And
Yeah.
you're never done. Right. But that's, holy shit.
Yeah, I feel like you have your own idea of what your potential is, right? And then I think that, God or whatever higher power,
source, universe,
whatever you want to believe in, like they have a plan for you too that you don't even know about yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you just stay focused on your goal in like a broad spectrum, like this is what I want. I don't know when it's going to come. I know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You will naturally attract the scenarios, the situations, the people, the circumstances, whatever that are going to get you to that goal, even though it might be a bad scenario, like looking bankruptcy in the face.
Yeah.
Right. Or a good thing where, I'm meeting a client at Baja Cantina getting a beer. And next thing you know, we're talking about doing a $4 million brand new house for him in down in Carmel Highlands.
Yeah.
True story. So it's like, you never know. You just got to kind of trust the process, trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and just stick to some basic practices. And it'll help you get to your potential that much faster, at least in my experience.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, man.
Yeah,
that's it right there.
Holy I feel like shit, if I can make it happen too, anyone. Like it's kind of stereotypical to say, oh yeah, I'm this influencer that's gonna say, oh yeah, if I can do it, you can do it. It's everybody says that, but it's so true. I just kind of hardwired my brain.
Yeah.
And just restructured my brain to thinking differently, and all this stuff just manifested into my life so much faster. It's
amazing, man. No, I believe it. I believe that, and I'm a firm believer that anyone could do it, right? And it's so funny. Just in my own little circle, I was, I guess for lack of better terms, I was preaching some of this stuff, like gratitude.
Yeah.
And then I have some of my buddies that's been on the show and whatnot say, oh man, the minute I started that, I landed like 3 jobs, and I'm like.
Yeah,
that's it. Just you got to do the work. Don't forget about doing the work.
It's one of those things too. You have to talk about it to the right person. Like they have to be, because 99% of the people don't care. They don't want to hear it. They're like, whatever. But
right.
There's that 1% that actually absorb what you say.
Yeah.
And they might be in a position where they're like looking up to you or whatever. And like, I want to be like that. That's how it was for me.
Yeah.
I'm looking up to people that are doing this. I want to be like them.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Your circle, right? That's your associations. It goes back to all that. I talked about that on the first podcast that we did. It's just like that's for me one of the biggest contributors to the success we had was aligning yourself or surrounding yourself with people that you can have these conversations with, because everyone else looks at me like I'm nuts.
Right. Yeah. Same, dude. Same. People come to my house and they see my vision board. It's a vision wall.
Okay.
I literally took a whole wall in my bedroom.
I bet it's badass.
Just blasted it with all kinds of like just visuals that I want in my life, right? Like money, big job sites, the cars, the whatever. And it's like, they look at me like, what is this? What's you all right, Dave? What's going on here? And I kind of explained it to them or whatever, but the right person, when they hear your story and they hear how you do things, they'll absorb it.
And that's it, man. It's like you see all that, right? You see you have that. It's just crazy. It's like you have that vision board or vision wall.
Yeah.
You have the cars, you have the big houses, you have the big projects, but behind all that is the intention to provide to others so that they could provide, right?
100%.
That's still the why. Like, all those things are great and it's going to come as a byproduct. But the driving force is that positive intention to try to take care of your team, your people, and your family.
Right. And I think if you just stick to those fundamentals, provide for your guys, provide for your family, take care of your clients, get good reviews, keep your reputation good, all that other stuff
will work itself out.
It's like, it's what happens when you do those 5 things.
That's it.
Those all come into your life.
That's it.
Instead of where I used to think like, I'm just going to solely focus on this vision wall. And like, I just want that. I just want that. I just want that. Now it's like, I just trust the process. That's all going to come.
Yeah.
I don't really care when, honestly. I just want to focus on those 5 fundamentals I was just telling you about. And the rest of it comes, as of right now, like since I started focusing on the fundamentals, it's the projects on the vision board. Like we got some big jobs coming right now.
Yeah. Well, and I see you, man.
Yeah. I have them on the board. And it's like, when I made that vision board, I'm doing decks, fences, like window swaps, just like random little pissy fit jobs, and like I had bad clients and was like just struggling to make ends meet or whatever, the typical first 5 year of business, problems. But then now I just have full faith in myself and in my company and in my team. Right. And I focused on employees, clients, just doing my best. I enjoy the process now that I'm just like, I love the baby steps. I love the process. All that stuff is going to come. And they came faster. As soon as I changed that mindset, the bigger jobs started to come. And so it's just, I don't know. It's a trip. It really is.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, I mean, I'm sure we could go on for hours on this type of stuff, man. But
no kidding.
You know, if someone wants to get a hold of you, man, how does someone reach you?
Yeah. So we got the Instagram, you know, at Kasavan Construction Inc. I got a website, kasavanconstruction.com. All the info is on there. I'm more active on Instagram. We got a Facebook, but I got to get better at posting on that. But yeah, it's even if someone wants to reach out, you know, on the Instagram, send me a DM. You want some inspiration, you got any questions or whatever. My whole thing is at the end of the day, I want to inspire people, right? Like my theme is if you hang out with me long enough, I'm going to brainwash you into believing in yourself.
There you go.
I say that all the time. So the whole thing is like, if I can do this podcast, if I can talk to someone on a DM on Instagram or whatever and inspire them and help them believe in themselves and make steps towards success, that's like my end goal. Is I just want to help people, inspire people, motivate people to be, you know, successful and live to their full potential. That's what it's all about, man.
That's the purpose. That's the mission. That's
Absolutely.
awesome, man. David, dude, it's been awesome, dude. I see you. I see the projects you're doing. You live up to the hype, brother.
Thanks, man.
You really
I appreciate it. I got big boots to fill.
Yeah,
that's what I tell people, pops and grandpa.
That, you know, and with that being said, man, I think you're doing the name proud for sure. You're going to continue this legacy. I see your son, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And keep it rolling.
Yeah. Keep it rolling, man. And I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your time. And we're going to have you back soon.
Awesome. I can't wait, man. Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
Yep.